Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, March 18th, 2019, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Herrera?
Here.
Councilor Parsons?
Here.
Councilor Smith?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Freeman?
Here.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
And Youth Councilor Ferris?
Here.
Thank you very much. Would you all please rise if you can for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much, and thanks for coming tonight on this glorious early to spring evening. What's making up for all of the snow days we had earlier this year. We will start off with special orders of business, and we would like to go to the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association Annual Report. City Manager.
Ken Gerloff. I'm a big secret to the council. Good evening, Ken Gerloff, Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association President. We're here for our annual report. I guess we're not much of a secret to most of the council. We've been building over the year. It's been a bit difficult because there's not a lot of issues in our area, but we continue to build, get participation. Your stepping with the signs have helped quite a bit, has increased interest in the group. We have been able to mitigate a couple of things over the year. Parking next to Ben Miller Park after school was an issue on one side of the street with the kids. Parking on both sides of the street made the street too narrow. It's not a full width street to start with, BB Street I'm talking of. And when we had people waiting for kids on both sides of the street and a ice cream vendor in the mix, we had kids kind of sifting through the mix, coming through blind spots, and very dangerous. So we got no parking on one side, so we alleviated, half that problem there. Another issue this year we dealt with is on the Mamber and Thorman corner by the Elks Club there. We had many complaints to the people in the cul-de-sacs living there about trying to egress the street, to people speeding by and stuff. Our Public Works found a couple of signs for us, your speed is, and they put there, and it seems to have calmed down a little bit. We still have a few complaints, but, I think there always will be. And we continue to work with, planning and stuff. We're going to try and partner with them and try and help them out. One of the things they said, one of the things with managing some of their cases was the monitoring, and our group is now going to try and figure out how we can maybe do the monitoring part, because that's not someone that needs to be trained or cited or certified or anything like that. It's just a matter of seeing and reporting. So maybe we can help out with the lack of manpower with some partnerships in some of those areas like that. That's one of the things we're looking at. We have fielded a full board for a change. We have all members on board now, so I hope we're going to have a better year this year and do much more things. People have kind of discovered what the neighborhood association is about. I started with a group that had never been involved in a group like that, didn't fully understand, I think, what the possibilities were. So they have kind of matured and are aware of the possibilities now. So we're looking to this year to do more things. Any questions?
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions? Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say a big thank you for your leadership in this. Very few people in Keizer know Keizer as well as you do, and you've just done a really great job marshaling the troops and getting them in a direction despite your health challenges, and I just really want to say thank you for all you do.
Thank you much, and your being a liaison has been very helpful too with the link to McNary and the resources that brings with partnering with Weddle and the things we've done. So I appreciate your input too.
Thank you. And it was also very nice to hear at the meeting that the quick action on the part of our Public Works to get the signs in place was much appreciated. And folks noticed how quickly it got done, and that it is starting to make a difference and alert people on the presence of a dead end, which has been a dead end forever. But there's always hope, I guess. Spring's eternal when you turn into a street. And I noticed the first time I went around the corner and saw your speed is. So it's a good reminder for folks to take it easy.
And according to the folks that live there, it has helped some. There's still, like I said, some complaints, they'd rather have people stop and they can get out, but, it has improved.
That's great. And I appreciate also looking for that collaboration, especially in the issues of code enforcement. I know there have been some properties within your neighborhood association area that have been ongoing neighbor-to-neighbor challenges, and I appreciate the proactive way everybody's trying to engage and find solutions. So thank you for doing that.
I'd like to thank Chief Teague for the fine Citizen Academy he put on, too. We have a group that's very enthusiastic that went through that, and it was a great deal of fun.
All right, thank you so much. Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could you repeat for the folks out there while you're meeting again, what your meeting
We
dates
meet
are?
the first Thursdays right across the hall here in the McNary room most of the time.
Okay,
If
and
it's a
what-
different room, they put it on the sign out front.
What time?
6:30, first Thursday of the month.
Okay. Thank you very much for all your.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I believe we need to renew their, accept the report. Council President Freeman?
I move the council accept the report presented tonight and also extend the recognition to Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report and extend recognition to the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association for another year. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, and continue. I really enjoyed being with you earlier this month, and look forward to visiting again.
That was nice of you to be there. It really made a good impact on the folks.
Thank you. That's all I have under special orders of business tonight. That will take us then to committee reports. And with us tonight is Jeffrey Watson, who has the Planning Commission report.
Good evening, councilors. Mayor Clark. Jeffrey Watson from the Planning Commission, here to give a report on our March 13th meeting. Our Community Development Director requested that we consider a text amendment to the Urban Transition Zone Code. However, our staff council was not available, so it was a discussion, no vote was taken on it. This impacts currently, UT zone is about 118 properties up in North Keizer. Planning Commission decided that it would be a good idea to involve those property owners, so to invite them to come give their opinions and hear the discussion around the possibility of rezoning. The discussion was rezoning either through a legislative rezone to RS. There was also the possibility of simply amending the text in the UT code to allow some of the things that are currently special use permit to be just standard permitted use for those that are in the UT zone. And in general, the discussion was that we would accept input and invite input from those property owners who would be affected before we would move forward with the decision.
Sounds like a good idea. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So what specifically, what kinds of things would that affect, the UT rezoning?
Thank you, Councilor Reed. In general, the biggest change would that we would change from being a conditional use for constructing single-family dwellings and accessory dwelling units. Those are the two primary ones that I would point out to you. Those would become permitted use without requiring a conditional use permit. Most of the area that's currently zoned UT is zoned UT because we haven't gone forward with a change. It has the facilities that you would expect for a normal residential zoned area. So it's really just, there was discussion that it's an additional layer of permit seeking for the property owners that may not really be necessary and could be addressed with an update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to commend Jeffrey for being here, but also the commission, because they really took to heart this issue, not that they don't take to heart any other issue, because they do, but it was really important for the commission to seek the property owner's input. So we left the public hearing open, and staff will be reaching out to 118 property owners. And we appreciate that and understand the additional workload, but the commission really felt that it was in our best interest, along with the potential property owner's best interest, to come forward and have say in this topic. So thank you to the commission, as always.
Thank you, Councilor.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Next up, we have Matt Lawyer, who will be talking to us about parks and the Clagger Creek Watershed Council.
To follow Mark Antony, that's kind of a challenge. In case you don't know, my colleague on the Planning Commission played Mark Antony a number of years ago, and Julius Caesar did a fantastic job. So, anyways, inside joke, way. Anyways, Matt Lawyer with the Keizer Parks Recreation Advisory Board. We had our normal meeting on March 12th. Pretty normal meeting. Kicked off with a little discussion with Peggy and Jerry. Talk a little bit about their project they did with the solar at the greenhouse. They were able to work with Greenridge Solar out of Tualatin, who did a really good job on the solar project, and in fact did $1,500 in-kind labor of their own, in addition to what they were able to bring with that project. So far, they're able to get things going with that in the greenhouse, and we're really pleased to see the outcome they've been able to do there. I told him I wasn't going to brag on him, but I guess I lied a little bit. But I love having Peggy and Jerry around. The other big topic of consideration I'm going to talk about here in just a second. We went through our normal parks list and talked about the condition of some of the parks. Of note, they're all in really, really good shape. For the most part, the kinds of things we're bringing up are generally nitpicky in nature, which is nice. And so the condition of the parks continues to get better and better each and every month. And that's huge kudos to Robert and his staff. Main topic of consideration going back was an idea that stemmed from discussion from some folks in the community around opportunities for youth to do projects. I just about went Canadian on that. Youth to do projects in the city through the parks. And so the caveat with that was there was a discussion about one of the youth council liaisons to one of our commissions or boards that came to try to do a project, didn't have the funding, was more or less kind of told no. They went to Salem, got money right up front, and did a project outside of our city. Now, this is somebody that we asked to come and sit at one of our boards and commissions from the youth, and we're not given that opportunity. So we took the concept and generally laid it out in discussion, and what it really boiled down to is a request for some additional grant funding in addition to the normal amount, and then a carve out in the language to make the grant language permissive rather than grants are reimbursable to grants may be reimbursable, and then adding in some language specifically regarding youth projects that may be funded upfront at the discretion of the board and working with staff. There's some additional layers to that we haven't worked out in terms of the process, but we had to get the budget request asked first before we kind of finish the flesh out of the exact project. What we envision is that a youth would come forward with a project idea, have a fully fledged plan, get with either a Parks Board member and or city councilor and as a sponsor, and then present their project to the Parks Board, and it could be approved for whatever they're going to do. It may not necessarily be reimbursable. It may not necessarily be paid up front. That's going to be something they'll have to figure out as they develop their project. But we wanted to make it a little bit easier in terms of their ability to get those projects done. Many 16-year-olds don't have direct funding right off the bat. But that also does lend itself to possibly allowing for other projects to have some flexibility throughout in terms of the funding, but we'll kind of flesh through that. So ultimately, we came up with, again, the request for an additional $5,000 on top of the $10,000 already in the grant program, and made that recommendation for the budget committee. So I really look forward to a more robust conversation next month as we flesh out the details and be able to provide some more specificity to how that program is going to look. I'm really excited to see how it's going to continue to encourage our youth to engage in the city and continue to build on pride, spirit, and volunteerism, and just open up those opportunities. So for parks, that's about it, unless you have any questions.
Any questions on the Parks report? Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, I want to extend my thanks for the work that you've done with that, because I also had some people come to me and talk to me about how important that would be for the young people in our community to be able to do projects for us rather than for Salem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Youth Counselor Ferris.
I would also like to say thank you so much for bringing this up, and I really appreciate your efforts in finding ways for youth liaisons to have a more prominent role in city functions, and I just can't wait to see how this progresses. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank
We
you
love
very
our
much.
kids.
There are young adults, and they are grabbing
Right,
a hold
yeah.
of these responsibilities and following through very quickly. Very, very happy about that. Any other questions? All right, switch hats
Okay.
to Clyde Creek Watershed Council.
So, I am the chair of the Keizer Creek Watershed Council. We've been meeting in our normal sessions. I'm gonna back up to February 9th. We had our Ben Miller cleanup, which was more of a stand around and shrug. That was the morning it snowed on a Saturday. Mayor Clark texted me and said, "Are we doing this?" And I said, "It's Keizer, of course we are." This is project manager failure on my part. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've gone down to Ben Miller and done a bunch of cleanup, done some leaf blowing, and Robert really kind of killed that project for us because they're doing such a good job maintaining the park, so we didn't really have anything to do. So again, project manager failure on my end because I didn't go down and sort of look at it beforehand. We did get some a bag or two of trash picked up, and we got some debris picked up, but just another sort of encouraging shout out to Robert for doing such a great job with what they're doing down along the area. Of note, the bridge at Alder, normally it's a hotbed for homeless. Because the neighbors across the street have kind of clear cut their property, they have a direct line underneath that bridge, and as a result, I think that it is sort of eliminating that desire for homeless to want to go down and utilize that area. Still finding some stuff here and there. Most of it is generally contraband from stuff that flies out of kids' hands, I imagine, as they walk home from school. I wouldn't think they would purposely throw it over the bridge, but anyways, yeah, great job by Robert and those guys keeping that awesome. So we're looking to new exciting adventures down there next year. On February 20th, myself and Dorothy Deal, the vice chair of the Clyde Creek Watershed Council, were invited to attend the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments annual banquet. I'd like to say that it was quite a welcome surprise to be given the board chair's choice award. I think that our board chair may be a bit biased, Mayor Clark, but she presented the Clyde Creek Watershed Council in recognition of their dedicated work to promote and protect water quality, wildlife habitat of the Clyde Creek Watershed through projects, education, regional collaboration, and community-wide partnership. So we were very pleased to accept this. I don't think that we take ourselves overly seriously. We just like to work with folks and do a good job. Sadly, we're not a brick and mortar organization. And so with the consent of the council, I would like to present this to the city of Keizer to be placed somewhere in City Hall as recognition not only to those watershed past and present and current, but also to the city of Keizer for doing such a great job and being a partner with our organization. So if it pleases the council, I'd like to present this to y'all and leave it here.
I think we can find a place to hang it where people can see it and know that the kind of collaborative work we do in the community, which was evidenced again this weekend with the City Hall cleanup and the number of organizations that turned out. I've lost count at a dozen.
Right.
And I probably didn't get them all when I was doing my Facebook post.
Well, and
Thank
that's a perfect segue. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We did have the 9th annual community center cleanup this last Saturday. It was a beautiful day, and yet we still turned out about 138 volunteers. It was one of those things that started off, Lake Point is obviously a big partner in that. Rotary does a fantastic job year after year of coordinating this event. the last couple years, through work from McNary Junior ROTC, Whitaker Middle School, and then this year Clagger Creek Middle School showed up with really good numbers. So it was a lot of kids and young adults, as I was, that we are seeing year after year. They're getting excited to come out and do these projects. And so we're really pleased with that. We got a bunch of work done. We had a bit of a scheduling issue, but I understand that's being taken care of, and really appreciate the work with Tracy and those guys to get that looked at. But ultimately we got the work done. It took us a little bit longer because we came back the next day and did some leaf blowing and stuff. But ultimately we're really happy to do the project. Looks great out there. And again, not as much work this year than we had to do last year, maybe because we didn't have to do as much with the heritage, but probably did about 20 yards of debris this year. So again, a shout out to Robert and those guys. They helped make sure we had enough trash cans and other tools this year. Again, just a byproduct of the parks fee. They bought a little bit of extra stuff for us, which made life exponentially better this year versus last year. We weren't having people stand around waiting for trash cans nearly as much as we were. And if you're not familiar, we fill the trash cans up, load them up on a trailer and or the gator, and bring it back to the debris area and dump them. And big shout out to Mr. Freeman for standing there for the first hour or so, dumping most of those bins. So I'd like to personally thank Mayor Clark, Councilor Reed, Councilor Freeman, and Councilor Kohler for being out there and spending a good portion of the day helping us out. And for those that weren't able, we missed you. Understand that work and other things were involved, but look forward to seeing you guys out there next year. So.
If I could press pause for a moment, some of the groups that were out there, and you've listed some of them: Lake Point Community Church, Keizer Rotary, McNary Air Force Junior ROTC, Clagger Creek Middle School, Whitaker Middle School, Clagger Creek Watershed Council, Keizer City Council, VFW Post 661, Satellite Gaming, Cub Scout Troop 12, Keizer Fire, Keizer Police, Men of Action of Keizer, and Latino Club. And that's just the list of what I got. There we go. I missed one. National Honor Society. Thank you. I'll add that to my post.
Keizer Homegrown Theater was there twice.
And Keizer Homegrown Theater. And then also the company that did the trim up the day before was Fabian Lopez of Earth Tech. And he donated the labor to have his folks come out and professionally get things trimmed and ready for the cleanup day. And I want to give a shout out. And Mark Callier. And then Lauren's Sanitation for providing the big, huge 30 ginormous thing.
And we
for
had
all of the
some
art debris.
additional volunteers helping Gary Whalen, Danny Dietz, and a few others cleaning up on Friday as well. So, yeah, huge effort.
Yes.
Good project. But and the last thing I'd like to note, and I'm just going to cue off unless anybody has any questions about the watershed stuff, just I want to echo what Ken said about the Police Citizens Academy. Chief and those guys put together an absolutely amazing opportunity. I got to be there with Councilor Reed and Councilor Parsons, and I think they will also echo what I have to say. And I think that it was certainly one of the most eye-opening opportunities I've had in the city of Keizer, and I just want a huge shout out to the chief and his staff for doing a fantastic job. So,
All right. Any other questions? All right.
One comment.
Councilor Freeman, Council President Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Matt. And if you've never attended cleanup, I would encourage you to do that. And Matt, I think this is my, I don't know, fourth year maybe, fifth year. And no matter where you are on the gator, there is something, you know how you know when people walk a certain way? Well, there's a way you drive that gator. And so I just always knew where you were in the gator. And so, you know, you can't hide, I guess, but just for all of those people that had the garbage cans full of everything and you in the gator. So thank you. Or the whatever you were on, you knew it was you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Can't hide.
Sure, good.
It was get or done. Oh, thank you so much. And I would like to come in and get that, and then we can hang that in a place of prominence. Thank you.
That's good.
I gave it to you. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. guess I didn't want to put that up in the man cave. All right. Is anybody else here to do a committee report? Then let's go on to public testimony. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on this agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have one public hearing tonight, and that is for forming the Sterling Meadows Street Lighting Local Improvement District. And signed up tonight, I have Danielle Bethel and Jonathan Thompson to talk to us about the 2018-19, I'm going to assume 19-20? No, 18-19. I will not second guess you. Okay. Chamber budget allocation.
So we have handouts for everybody. It's a formal letter that I had prepared. My name is Danielle Bethel. I'm the Executive Director of the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. And this is Jonathan Thompson. He's our President-elect of the Chamber and also the the Chair of our Government Affairs Committee. Last year, in 2018, as you may recall, I came and presented a budget request in March for the Chamber of Commerce, in general, as we do every year, and I had included in that an ask for 10% of the city's TOT dollars. And most are familiar with the history. For up until 2012, the Chamber and the city had a pretty good relationship, I think, or a relationship. And then in 2012, the TOT dollars was pulled back to do some other supporting efforts within this building and other areas of the city from the Chamber. And up until last year, that partnership wasn't available. And so I took a shot in the dark and hoped that since 2016, our partnership had increased for the better and made that ask. We had some things in the hopper that was working for the Chamber and bringing its building back to River Road, but we didn't have exact specifics as to what that would look like at the time because it was early in the year. And so I'm just here with Jonathan to report that we have successfully moved the Chamber of Commerce to River Road. We moved into our space in November. We doubled, a little more than doubled our square footage, and I'm proud to say that we're almost complete with our visitor center aspect of that. We have been meeting regularly with different organizations in the community to showcase that opportunity for them to bring their information down and present it to the community visitors and citizens that live here. Specifically Linda Baker and Keizer Homegrown Theater. I'm pretty excited to be able to provide space for them to recognize their shows as she coordinates them throughout the year. Clint Holland and the summer concert series that he hosts. And then just about every school program that we have is over the moon about being able to showcase their little posters as they present them to the community if they were to come into the organization. So in addition to all of the website presentation that we provide to the community, and then social media, which has kind of gone through the roof for the Chamber. Just some points of note, in a 6-month period, the Chamber received just over 20,000 Google hits for people specifically looking for activities in Keizer, and we're able to guide them through our website and other resources that we have located on the internet to guide people there. We are constantly, as I had said, talking to different community programs. And I think the space in general speaks for itself. I have a fun story that on a Sunday in late November after we moved in, just after Thanksgiving and just before the parade, I was in there painting and a gal walked in off the street. And I was not in my best attire, but I was happy to talk to her. And she had shared her history here in town and how she recalls every location the Chamber has been in her lifetime, which is pretty awesome, and it's a lot. But she was very happy to see it back and within walking distance of her house. Since then, she's joined the Chamber as a member and is looking to develop a resource center here in the community, and is engaging different youth programs that she is invested in and participating in the things that we at the Chamber do for the community. And that's all just because she saw a sign on a window that we had there for a little bit saying that we were coming and the lights were on. So I guess if you leave the lights on, they'll come in. So I do actually work in the dark from time to time. So as the letter goes through, to support the efforts of the organization, in addition to the building, the Chamber made an investment of about $17,000 to get the space up and running and conducive to the goals that we have over the next few years. But we needed to provide some staffing to be able to support the uptick in attention that we're getting. We were already looking at bringing staff on, but we had to figure out a way to do that and exactly figure out what that job description would look like. So last year, the Chamber Board had looked at ways to maneuver their budget to be able to bring that position on in March, to be able to just to support the growth of the festival and the activities that we were doing in 2018 at our current location in Keizer Station and the walk-in traffic that we were receiving there, which really mostly was, how do you find the eyeglass place when the trees are in bloom? But we often would send them to River Road as well. And since being at River Road, we're having really great conversations with folks. Shannon was hired last year, and she's a new employee to the organization, and she was hired at part-time. And she spends, on average, I'd say 3 to 4 hours a day talking to community members about Keizer and the things that we have going on. We had a gal come in today with her son who has some friends coming from out of state that don't really know much about Keizer. And she's lived here for 4 years and doesn't know much herself. And instead of just giving her pamphlets and sending her on her way, we have the opportunity to have a conversation with folks and get them more involved. And she's really passionate about that. And it's really showing in the fact that they keep coming back and asking her questions, which is great. But we're working through the details of how to get her other work done too. But it's also a flaw for me because we like to talk to people. So anyway, last year after Budget Committee had approved our ask, we came to City Council and you guys approved that same ask, which was $8,500, and requested that we come back, which is why we're here to tell you what that $8,500 would go to. So a bulk of that is going to go to the building to help us recover some of those costs that we didn't have in the budget in general to get us to River Road, and also to help offset some of the costs of Shannon.
Just one more program I wanted to mention. I know some of you have been a part of our Cook's Night Off and what we're doing there in highlighting Keizer restaurants. If you don't know, Counselor Kohler is a wonderful dishwasher. So if you ever need that, he's available for Cook's Night Off. So, but one of the things we're doing as part of that is we're allowing folks to enter a drawing for a gift card, and to enter the drawing, you need to fill out a slip of paper, and we're tracking zip codes on that piece of paper. So we'll be able to, as this rolls out, be able to know where we are drawing people from to this event. And, we have seen some zip codes from outside of Keizer and things like that. So we're early in that. We had our second one, and I'll make a shameless plug for our third one coming up next week
This week.
Oh, this week?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh, it's already the 20th? Dang. Sadly, yes. This week at Keizer Pho. So please make plans to join us on Wednesday for that. And like I said, it's just all those things require staff time. They're great at highlighting local businesses, but at the same time, they require staff time. So we're hoping that some of that allocation can help with that as well. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Councilor Parsons.
It's more of a statement than a question, I think. So the move just in the 5-month period of time, I think what Danielle was highlighting, I hear it too. People are ecstatic about it being back on River Road. They know where to find it. They got lost in Keizer Station trying to find you. It's easy now to go to River Road in a big brown building. I wish you had another sign though in the front.
That's coming.
Okay. Oh, good. And,
wait,
and,
there's more.
and they're
Don't
saying
tell
good.
them
And they're saying good things. So I, for one, will support that allocation because I think that you've put it to good use. I think that you're going to continue to do that, and you're going to continue to do good things. And I do appreciate you guys being there and being back on board with us.
Thank you. Just to follow up real quick about the sign, we're not actually putting one on the building itself, although we do understand there's space for that. We looked into it. We are utilizing the amazing graphic designer skills of Andrew Jackson at the Keizer Times, and he has produced some window cleanings for we have a lot of windows. Oh, awesome. And they're beautiful. You're going to be exceptionally impressed. I was very excited to see the final rendering of them today. And they don't just incorporate, we're taking into account the info that was rebranded to the organization several years ago to bring people's attention to it, but they're very colorful. But they also talk about the action words that speak of Keizer outside of our city motto. We get some traffic backed up right in front of our building for about a 45-minute period every evening because everyone rushes through River Road thinking they're going to beat the traffic at 4, but they don't. So they're going to get to look at our windows. And notably, people have driven by us. We have some beautiful signs up, but they're up high, and we wanted to bring them down to the kind of the car window level, and these will do that. So we're working with copycats here in town, and hopefully we'll have them up before the end of April, but for sure before the festival.
Any other questions? I want to echo what Councilor Parsons said. This report, and I'm looking forward to reading it thoroughly later on, but this speaks volumes about what you are doing in a very purposeful way and being very aware of what our businesses need to be successful and to create a community out of our businesses and then connecting with the rest of the community at large. I think a lot of people feel it. I know I do. When I talk to you, the enthusiasm, it's enthusiasm that's informed. So people can get really excited about stuff and it's fluff, but you guys get excited about stuff and it's solid. We've got, our businesses are thriving. The chamber has grown as an organization, and I'm very impressed with the direction and the maturity and the focus that I'm seeing within your organization, and I appreciate your partnering with us and so many groups in the community to bring jobs and success for our business community. Really appreciate it.
That means a lot. We're working hard, and we're always willing to sit down and put you to work too. So feel free to come on over. The Iris Festival is right around the corner.
And the website for that is?
Well, it's keizerchamber.com/KeizerFest, because we've rebranded it, and there'll be more to come on that in my report. April 14th, I think, is when I'm coming back. The 15th, sorry. Tax Day. Yay!
Woohoo! And also want to give a shout out to Jonathan Thompson and the blurbs you're putting out during legislative session, keeping people informed of what's happening in our state capitol and in the legislative session. I really appreciate the thoroughness and the opportunity that you are helping provide people to engage in a meaningful way. So thank you for that.
To follow up with that, he's doing an excellent job, and we are putting information on our website, but we've created a new feature within our database for community members that's free to them to access. They can email us at info@keizerchamber.com and say that they want to be included on the community action alerts, and as things that are affecting our community as a whole, legislatively or just at the local level, we'll send out emails to them, and they are receiving that. And at any time, they can unsubscribe if they choose. But my last check, we have over 350 individuals in Keizer that are following that. And tomorrow we're going to be sending out a really, really fun legislative update. But people are engaging in that conversation. They're replying with grateful thoughts of the information and additional inquiries as to how they can further engage the process. I know that that's important to our businesses. As a chamber, we're not just there to help them raise money. We're here to help them stay in their communities, and it's going to take all the community support that we can gather to keep us afloat under the current legislative climate.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilor Parsons has allowed me to be a liaison to the chamber for a few months at least, and I appreciate that. I've really come to appreciate the professional way that you make the chamber work for the community, and very proud to begin those meetings and see how it works. And thank you.
Short time.
Well, we
see
really
if we can get
appreciate
her
you
job
being there.
extended.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This is very helpful information. We look forward to seeing all the information about Iris Festival coming up.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. I don't have anybody else signed up for public testimony tonight. Is there anybody else who would like to address the council this evening under public testimony? Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I apologize, I mentioned this on the committee report, but April 20th, we have our second annual Soggy Day in the Park event. We are finishing the paperwork up on that right now. We are actively seeking promotional sponsors for that, and it's going to be a little bit different from last year. We're going to co-locate everything out towards the boat ramp instead of having it spread out, but we're really looking forward to that event. Got a great turnout last year, and looking forward to having as much turnout, if not more, this year. So more details to come on that soon once we wrap up some of the sponsorship details and some of the other stuff with the paperwork end, but we're closing in on that fairly quickly. So just wanted to bring that back up, and really appreciate the input from staff and the community on this project. So.
And last year, it was a soggy day at the park, but it wasn't soggy.
No, ma'am. It was about as beautiful as today was. So, rain or shine, we're still going to have fun. Really excited to see sort of the first real blooming of the Keizer Rotary Arboretum in honor of Wilbur Bloom. I think that's correct. Either way, should be pretty. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, then let's go on to our public hearing tonight. It is a resolution forming the Sterling Meadow Street Lighting Local Improvement District. Open public hearing. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On December 3rd, 2018, the City Council adopted Resolution R 2018-2933, initiating Sterling Meadows Street Lighting District and directing the city engineer to make a survey and file a report. On February 4th, 2019, the City Council approved the city engineer's report and set a public hearing to consider remonstrances to the project and objections to the proposed assessments. Notice of the public hearing stating the intention to form the district and to assess for the lighting improvements was published in the Keizer Times and mailed to the property owners as required under City of Keizer Ordinance 94-278. It is recommended that the City Council open the public hearing to first consider oral objections and written remonstrances to the formation of Sterling Meadows Street Lighting Local Improvement District. If valid remonstrances of the owners of 2/3 of the land to be specially assessed for the lighting district are presented to the council at the public hearing, it is then recommended that you close the hearing, suspend formation of the district for 6 months. If, on the other hand, remonstrances are not received, it is then recommended the City Council close the public hearing and consider adoption of the resolution forming the Street Lighting Local Improvement District. And after doing so, it is further recommended City Council form the district, is then recommended that the City Council consider adoption of the proposed assessment ordinance for that district. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? All right, I don't have anybody signed up for public testimony tonight. Is there anybody here who'd like to speak to this issue? Any comments from City Council? Like to close public hearing? Council President Freeman.
I move the City Council adopt Resolution R 2019 forming the Sterling Meadow Street Lighting Local Improvement District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2019 forming Sterling Meadow Street Lighting Local Improvement District. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Council President Freeman.
I move the Keizer City Council approve a bill for an ordinance spreading assessments to Sterling Meadow Street Lighting Local Improvement District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance spreading assessments to Sterling Meadow Street Lighting Local Improvement District. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Let there be light. That takes us to administrative action, and we do not have anything listed this evening. So let's go on. Oh, this is going to be, I understood this was other business. Is that true?
I guess it can be, yeah.
Okay. So we will, let's do consent calendar, and then we'll move through that. Are we good with that? Council President Freeman, what's on the consent calendar tonight?
We have one item on the consent calendar, which is a resolution exemption of the brand name specification purchase of goods from competitive bidding and purchasing brand name specification materials from Springbrook Holding Company LLC, repealing R 2019-2957.
So does anybody need to pull this for discussion? Council President Freeman.
Approval of the consent calendar, item A.
Second.
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Council liaison reports. Councilor Herrera, can I start with you tonight?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I got a little list. I want to thank Eric Howell on March 8th. He hosted Pastor Dominguez and I at KMUZ, and on this program, and you did a wonderful job. And thank you for the article. That was very nice. We were spreading the word about our event for Latino. I'm getting Cal Club and Latino Action Committee mixed up here. On the 5th, I had a board meeting with Mano a Mano, which we have 2 new prospects for board members. On the 6th of Thursday, I attended the Latinx Law Students Diversity Series. Danny Santos has that diversity series, and our topic was women in Oregon leadership. And Governor Brown and Governor Roberts were both there. It was nice to see them. State of the City, you did a very nice job. I want to thank you for that, and thank for the Chamber for hosting us. That was very good. Also, I want to thank Dan Kohler for covering for me in Parks. I think that went well, didn't it?
And where did you go?
Yeah, I had a busy meeting. Actually, I went to the Beaver Ducks game, and by the way, the Beavers are really good.
Yes, they are.
They are really good. On the 13th, I attended the Neighborhood Impact Committee with were you there, John? Okay. Well, you should have been there. It was good. That was a very nice at Hallman Elementary, and I had never been to Hallman Elementary. Principal was our host there, and that was very nice. On the 15th, I went and talked to the Abbott class over at Whitaker with Mrs. Amber Sweeney, and they very, very good. And by the way, they were part of the cleanup too, I guess. They were telling me they were going to be part of that. And I missed that. I had my own project. And I want to thank Roel Herrera, Ruben Herrera, and Bingo Herrera for helping me with my project that day. We're afraid of crowds. We don't do good in front of crowds. And I want to thank this council for attending the Hall of Fame. That was very nice, and thank you for the support that we showed our local high school. It meant a lot to us. And congratulations to Sean Kittner and Mike Doherty. Wasn't he impressive, Mr. and Ms. Doherty? I thought it was interesting. They met in college almost 50 years ago, singing in the choir, and they still sing at church together. That is just, and it's wonderful to see the old 68 championship team. Congratulations to Lisa Blush and Sean Kittner, and also close to my heart, the 2009 baseball team, which were my kids, and they were like, it was still great to see everybody. So that's a good event. They're going to have another one in October. So, all right. Also, I've been invited to be part of the Beacons, and I think you know a little bit about the Beacons. I'm going to be working with them. And the whole goal of Beacons is to have someday where every student that wants to play a sport in our district will be able to play at no cost. That's our goal. Anybody can play any sport at no cost. And we're getting there, trying to get the right funds. Also, this Thursday, we have our Gubser Neighborhood Association. I also am hosting a LAC meeting. We're getting prepared for our May 9th function with the hope to give at least 20 scholarships to young graduating Latino students. And I think that's pretty much it. But again, a shout out to Eric. And I just want to say this personally. We're very fortunate to have, first of all, the writer that really cares about our community and the passion he put in the program. I just really was impressed with the whole thing, and I thought it was very nice that you take the time to cover the things that you know that are close to us and our community, and I really appreciate that a lot. Thanks again, man. So that's it for me.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was sick for a week, so unfortunately, I did miss a few things, and I apologize for that. We have a stormwater tomorrow on the 9th. We did long-range planning, I thought, last week. I thought that, Tim, you did a great job, and I want to thank you and the staff for preparing us for what's to come in May. I think it's going to go pretty smooth. I think people were pretty pleased as what's been going on, so I'm looking forward to that. I can't believe I just said I'm looking forward to budget, but I guess I'm looking forward to that. I attended a grand opening Saturday after working 80 hours last week for Jeff and Cheryl's, the new owners of McNary Restaurant. They're doing a fabulous job, and it was a great turnout. I lasted an hour, but I guess they had people there, standing room only, all evening. And so I'm so impressed with these new businesses that are opening up in Keizer. And the community support of all of them, including my kids' range, the business, it's just amazing. So I want to thank the chamber too, because they're getting the word out on all of this so well, and having these these dinners and the cook nights and stuff is amazing. And I think it's going to help build, and people are going to stay in Keizer to eat. People are going to stay in Keizer to play. And that's our goal. And I appreciate everything that you're doing towards doing that. And let's see, lastly, the Latino Action Committee is doing a wonderful job. I was lucky to have mentored a couple of students this year at McNary who are going to go to college, and they're going to go to college because they're going to have help with scholarships like the Latino Action Committee. And I know that I'm going to put a plug in for them, but you know, the donations are necessary in order to give these kids an opportunity to get a scholarship. So anyone that can actually give a donation, I give it to me, I'll give it to Roland, or whatever. He's not asking, I'm asking, because I think every kid deserves an opportunity to get a scholarship or to win something, to know that they have a place and they'll have some money to go to school, because that's going to help them reinforce the fact that, hey, you're going to go to college and we're helping you. So please, if you can, support not only the event on May 9th, but maybe if you can, support by giving a scholarship to one of these kids. So that's my plug. Thank you.
All right. There are a lot of good scholarship programs, and I think when we get to our youth counselor, maybe she can also give a plug for the college advising we have at McNary, if you would make a note of that, please. Thank you. But I will right now go to Counselor Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was also able to attend with Councilor Herrera and Councilor Kohler the State of the City address with the chamber, and our mayor did a wonderful job, always does, and I gained a lot of information actually from that meeting as well, so I thought it was very, very great positive feedback from the people that I spoke to later, so great job on that. I also went to the Home Builders Association dinner this week, and the spotlight was on the Union Gospel Mission, and Dan Clem presented. They're getting ready to build the new men's facility that will have approximately 220 beds, and the concept of it was that Hope has a new address, which I thought was a really neat phrase. So I'm excited for them to do that. In January, they served 14,000 meals. February, they've served 13,000 meals. He specifically thanked the business community and said that 98% of the food is donated by local grocery stores and restaurants. So a big shout out to those places that are thinking of those that cannot afford to eat. And they're not wasting that food, they're giving it back into the community, and they're doing a good job of it. One thing I was not aware of is that they do have day labor available. So if you're looking for somebody to do some work, you can actually show up at 7 o'clock in the morning down there, and they will have men ready to go out and do work. So I thought that's a message worthy of passing on. And there's actually a gentleman named Bruce, and they joked around to calling 1-800-CALL-BRUCE. Bruce is someone who works down there, and if you know of a family or homeless people that are maybe not able to get themselves down to the gospel mission, he actually goes out and picks them up and takes them down there. So I thought it was a great presentation. It was really, really good to hear that they're making progress, and the new facility, I saw the designs, and it's going to be beautiful. I shot an email over to Danielle for some, at the Keizer Chamber for some updates regarding the Keizer Fest. Obviously, that's coming. That's a huge, exciting time of year. Ever since I've lived in Keizer, that's something that we've looked forward to. And a couple of key points. There's going to be a new kickoff dinner or kickoff party on May 11th. It's the weekend before the Irish Festival, and a lot of the proceeds are going to be going to the contemporary music program at McNary. So that's exciting. Of course, we'll have our carnival and golf tournament and all of those things that we look forward to every year. It's a fun time. So she'll be coming back, I believe, with Jonathan here in a couple of weeks to bring up more additional information and get permitting. The other thing is that I will be going to the groundbreaking ceremony at Gubser on Friday at 11:30. And the Keizer Arts Commission, the Story Poll RFP, and I have to tell you a funny story. Everybody has been using that phrase RFP for the last several weeks. I had no idea what it was. I had to Google it. So it's a request for a proposal, but those are due tomorrow by 3 o'clock. So for anybody watching that doesn't know what RFP means, that's what it means. That's it.
Well, thank you for that reminder, because some of us, we do so much of that in our daily work, and we do acronyms, and we forget not everybody speaks the same acronym language.
Well, it was so funny because she just texted me randomly out of the blue, like, what does this mean? And I'm like, what do you mean, what does this mean? Don't you know what that means? So, yeah.
But you probably don't use that when you're writing home loans.
You don't.
Or maybe have another meaning. So, yeah, you have to watch out for those acronyms, because you use it in two different locations, you have two different meanings, and you might be surprised at what it means. Exactly. And with that, I'll go on to Council President Freeman.
Thank you. let's see, last week we had the West Keizer Neighborhood Association meeting, and the mayor finished out her City of the Address. But mostly what she did is she asked the residents of West Keizer really what their questions were. So she probably was one of the first times she didn't give a presentation, but we had a small group this time, but everyone really appreciated the opportunity just to ask questions. So it was a great format. Planning Commission, you heard Jeffrey's information. And again, I just want to give a shout out to the Planning Commission for really taking all the issues really seriously, but really wanting citizen input. And I think it's been a council goal, and we are really working hard to make sure we have citizen input around that. Attended the Marion County Breakfast on also last Thursday. Thursdays are always busy. A great time had by all. City cleanup was on Saturday, and I just, again, a shout out. We've talked about everyone that volunteered, and I was just grateful I was not with the lovely red bushes out there that have thorns that, you know, stay around forever. So I had a rake this time, so I had my own equipment, so I loved that. I also would give a shout out to Tim for the long-range budget planning meeting we had earlier this month, and budget's always been one of my favorites, but I think every year we just get better and better and better, so I appreciate that as well. And then next week, my calendar is right, is spring break, so just a reminder that we will be seeing potentially more children out and about, so everyone just be really careful with that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I started with the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood annual meeting on the first Thursday of the month, and you heard a report from Ken earlier, but that was a fantastic meeting, and we had a good turnout, and we really appreciate you coming to kind of give your warm-up say to the city address there. That was much appreciated, and yes, lots of great information. I finished the police academy, as you've heard a couple times tonight. I'm kind of thinking that I missed, if I had it to do over again, I might go into policing. But whatever, that's a path not traveled, but it looks, you know, it was a very exciting experience and learned a lot. It was wonderful.
Hey, Laura, they're looking for someone else to tase next time.
Okay, no, no, thank you. Okay. Went to the long-range planning, on the long-range planning meeting, and lots of really good information there, very well prepared and very, very well explained. Had a Keizer Heritage Board meeting across at the Keizer Heritage Center, and just some really good information there. Did the Hall of Fame dinner, and Elvis has left the building, opened last weekend, and that was fantastic. It was not as well attended as we would have hoped, but hopefully the word will get out, and there's 2 more weekends of that. It goes Friday and Saturday at 7 o'clock, and then Sunday matinees for the next 2 weekends. So please come out and see that. It is really a lot of fun and just totally nuts, and yes. Did the Civic Center cleanup on Saturday, and lots of good hard work there, but it's such fun. It's fun to work as a community and come together to do all that together, and it's really great to see the kids out there getting that passion for the next generation. This week, there is a child abuse prevention meeting that I am not going to be able to go to because it's scheduled at noon. But this is an organization I went to one a couple of months ago, and it's basically trying to define the problem. We're sort of in the defining the problem stage, although we sort of, anyway, it's a collection of community leaders and that are talking about this very, very important issue. So I can't go to that, but hopefully if any viewers out there are in a position of leadership for any kind of youth in any capacity, I'm going to invite you. So go to that if you can. It's an important conversation.
Is there a website or a name of that event that people can look up? I can circle back if you like.
Yes. It's called the Child Abuse Prevention Leadership Team Meeting.
And when is that again?
And it's tomorrow at noon, at noon to 1:30 at 1786 State Street. So I guess if Liberty House's office, Thank you, Colleen. Liberty House, if you are wanting to get more information on that, contact the Liberty House office. Thank you, Colleen. Exactly what I needed. The Stormwater Advisory Committee meeting was postponed from last week to tomorrow, so we have that to look forward to tomorrow. We are going to be working hard to get what we need to in place in order to get that new permit going on. We have conferences, spring conferences going up at the schools around the district, so those are Wednesday night and all day Thursday. At least that's what it is at McNary. I'm pretty sure that's the schedule across the district as well. But we're gearing up for those. Also, track season. We are in need of some volunteers for track. The track meets that are at home this year are April 3rd, 17th, and 26th. And we'd like to get some community people involved in that too. I think we need some 84 volunteers or something. And I heard a couple of years ago that Keizer is that McNary is the only high school in the district that is fully manned by volunteers, which made me very proud and not at all surprised that that's just how Keizer does. We step up when there are volunteers needed. And so if you are interested in that, please contact Debbie Doherty at the McNary Athletic Office, and she can get you set up for what you need to do in order to be involved in that. On Monday, we have the Buildable Lands Inventory Housing Needs Analysis meeting at 6 o'clock, and that will be good fun as always. And then, of course, spring break. So spring break is next week. Woohoo.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully this good weather will persist for that. Traditionally, that doesn't.
One can hope.
Indeed. And then can you get out information either through email or social media, linking folks up for volunteering for the track and field so people will know who to call and what to click for that?
I will do that.
That would be great. Thank you.
And Laura, what time usually do those meets start? So what time are we talking for people?
The field events start at 3:15 and the races start at 3:45. Oh, our youth counselor's got this information. I'm going to let her take over.
Awesome, perfect, thank you.
Well, and they generally go till, it depends, but around 6.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe it officially on the calendar says it starts 3:15 p.m. and it's against South Salem. So
First one, okay.
Okay.
And come dressed for all weather.
Flexibility.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been a kind of a busy couple of weeks here. Wednesday, March 6th, I attended the Claggett Creek Watershed Council meeting, and I appreciate Mr. Lawyer giving a report on that. Saturday, March 9th, many of our McNary students participated in and did very well at the Keizer Salem District Solo and Ensemble Competition. The top placers are now invited to compete in the OSAA state competition. Monday was the Long Range Planning Task Force. Tuesday, the State of the City Chamber Luncheon, where we got to listen to the mayor and share her vision of what's going on in the future, and I appreciate that. That was a lot of fun. The people at the table that I was sitting with were at awe at how well things are going for the city, so we appreciate that. Tuesday evening was Parks Board meeting that I sat in for Mr. Herrera while he went to some baseball game or something. But again, Mr. Lawyer reported on that, and again, the opportunity for young people to do projects for the city and to have that paid through the Parks Board is, I think, is a great move, and I appreciate that a lot. Wednesday also was the Whitaker Middle School Orchestra concert, and Thursday was Marion County Commissioner's Breakfast. This is very informative. That was more there than I thought there was going to be, and that was good. We even talked about the bridge. And then Thursday night was the Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee. Many options discussed about the River Road revitalization, and they voted to suggest to the task force to narrow the lanes and make multi-use paths on the sidewalk. So that'll be interesting to see how that comes out. Emphasis is made on the importance of long-range development of parallel secondary bike routes, because they acknowledge that there's really no way that bike paths are really going to be able to be placed on River Road without taking lanes out when they know that that's not an option. So we had a very, very spirited discussion about some of those things. They also talked about on July 27th, there's a 5K foot pursuit that the Keizer Police Department is putting on, and it's a benefit for Special Olympics. And if you want to help as a volunteer, 14 and older, email 5K foot pursuit at keizer.org. Or if you're interested in sponsoring an event, contact https://runsignup.com/race/donate/or.keizer/PD. Just get one of these.
Yeah. We'll post
Okay.
the link.
Friday, I was able to attend the McNary High School Athletic Hall of Fame. So I got to see a lot of people I hadn't seen for a while. It was a good meeting. And then Saturday was the Keizer Rotary Claggett Creek Watershed Council Community Cleanup. Very good turnout and great event. Thanks, Matt and Keizer. What I did wonder, though, is what's the Keizer Claggett Creek Watershed Council concerned about the City Hall? But anyway, that's all right. Maybe there's more water out here than I thought there was. It's a different time of year. But
I think that was rhetorical.
yes. Okay. Earlier today, I also attended the Keizer United meeting. The presentations about Salem Keizer collaboration by Jason Ramos and Claudia Mendoza. And they're going to be asking for some funding on May 2nd at the budget meeting. And then Tuesday, tomorrow is the Stormwater Advisory Committee here. And then Friday is the Gubser groundbreaking. And then next Monday is buildable land. I'm sure there's something I'm missing.
Yeah, a time to take a breath.
Did I say that? Tomorrow.
Yep, all right. Well, thank you very much. Youth Counselor Ferris.
Okay, so tonight, actually, it's currently happening as a choir concert at McNary. Tomorrow, from 7 to 9, there are 2 events happening. One of them is the Wrestling Awards Banquet, and that is at McNary. And then the Advanced Choir Festival is at Sprague High School. The the JV and varsity team baseball game is on Wednesday at 4:30, and they're playing against Lebanon. It's a home game, so make sure to come and support. There is a girls varsity tennis match on Thursday versus Cleveland at 4 o'clock. And the baseball team is actually headed to Arizona next week, so good luck to them. The track and field varsity meet, again, is Wednesday, April 3rd, 3:15 p.m. versus South Salem. And so with all that, I would say athletics and intramural sports is definitely kicking off for the spring season. So make sure to come and support all the teams that are participating. At CTEC, the Skills USA competition was a huge success. Multiple teams brought back medals, so congrats to all who participated, and congratulations. So we're still looking for adult volunteers for the McNary Mentor Program. You can never have too many volunteers, so please see the McNary College and Career Center website for details, and we hope to see you there.
Very good. Thank you so much. I also want to, remind everybody that as more and more of our students are participating in sports, music, and additional involvement at school, there has been found to be a direct correlation between that and attendance and, most importantly, graduation. So everybody who supports our students in these various activities and endeavors is helping support our students make it to graduation and then into their careers beyond that. So thank you, everybody who volunteers for our young people. I'm just going to add a couple of things to the myriad that has been discussed tonight. The Mid-Willamette Council of Governments Executive Board met on the 6th. We went over the budgets. We are going to appoint a dues review committee, which hasn't been done in a number of years, and also the lease and remodel of the facility. If you haven't been down to the Council of Governments, they are in the midst of a remodel that was kind of bumped up a little earlier because of this flooding thing that happened that took out a couple of rooms up there. They were going to have to remodel anyway, so they just got started. Yeah, the building owner was really excited about that. The Mid-Willamette Area Commission of Transportation met on the 7th, and we are in the process now of grading the state transportation, the transit STIF, statewide transportation, no, transit infrastructure fund applications for our area. There are 5 or 6 of them, and we're going to compile our results on April 4th. This is how funding that came through House Bill 2017 for transportation. On the 8th, I was able to attend the International Women's Day dinner with the National Association of Women in Construction, and met a lot of the women who are in our construction businesses throughout the Salem-Keizer area and actually in the valley. The next day, they were involved with the construction competition, and I joined 4 other area mayors in judging the structures that were constructed with canned food. So they were judged on their creativity, the structural integrity, the types of foods they chose, for menu and so forth. And there were 5 structures this time, but some of these have gotten to be very large competitions with 20, 30, 40 structures and very, very competitive. I want to give a shout out to the team from CTEC that came that morning with their team, and they dragged some extra friends because they had to write their names in, took a look at the pile of cans, and then built a house. Way to go. That was awesome. All of the canned food was then donated this last weekend after the awards were given out to the Marion Polk Food Share. So they got thousands of cans of really high-quality food in the process. So thank you to the National Association of Women in Construction for doing this project. It was a lot of fun. On the Sunday, the 10th, I extended the second day of the Brooks Firemen's Breakfast. This is an annual event to raise funds for their community activities that support families not only during the holidays, but also especially fire families during the year and other people in need in their community. So I want to give a shout out to the Brooks firefighters and Marion County Fire District for putting this on every year. And it was a great turnout. And of course, for us, it was kind of like the McNary sports thing. It was kind of like a family reunion. I want to thank everybody for the kind words about the State of the City address. The only reason it could go that well is because Keizer is that awesome. So thank you to the Chamber for hosting that, and thank you all for being such amazing folks and making Keizer the fabulous city we all love. On the 12th, attended the Keizer Heritage Board. That collaboration between the theater, the museum, art, and library continues to grow stronger, and I love hearing about all of the work being done at the Heritage Center, and please go and see Elvis Has Left the Building this next couple of weekends. And also, if you're cleaning out for spring cleaning, the Keizer Community Library is taking your books for the Iris Festival book sale, so drop them off over there. The State of the County address was given at the SEDCOR luncheon. SEDCOR is the Strategic Economic Development Corporation. And we got to hear from our 3 county commissioners, Commissioner Cameron, Commissioner Brentano, and Commissioner Willis. And I believe that is also playing on CCTV if you weren't able to be there. Let's see. On the 14th, I attended the Latino Business Alliance, and they had a presentation by the Salvation Army Kroc Center talking about services to families and also the growing collaboration for providing comprehensive services for families that are homeless and also families that have other financial needs. So I really appreciate the way they are continuing to grow their collaboration with nonprofits across the community to help more families and do so in a very deep and effective manner. Coming up, tomorrow, already, is the Council of Governments. I'm going to hear a presentation from our Homeless Initiative intern. She is completing her work, and a lot of that has been finishing up the work on a report on panhandling and options for cities in our area to address that issue in a way that is compliant with Supreme Court rulings. And then right after that, the Council of Governments Board will be meeting. On the 21st, I will be attending a presentation by Proterra with Portland General Electric on the electrification of transportation at the Salem Chamber of Commerce. And then I will join Councilors Smith and Herrera on Friday for the groundbreaking at Keizer. Really excited about that project going forward. And then Coffee with Kathy is this Saturday, 10 o'clock at Jeff and Cheryl's on the Turn at McNary. So that is all I've got for tonight. You'd think that we were kind of busy. And then I'm going to circle back to Councilor Herrera, who had one more thing to add.
Yeah, a couple of things. I want to shout out to the police officers, a couple of police officers, Officer Sabala for coming to our Cow Club. He comes every 2 years. He did a really great job. I mean, the kids listened to him, and especially the part where he talks about him growing up, and it was just wonderful. And also Garrett Van Cleve, who is now in the Hall of Fame as part of the 2009. That's pretty special. You know, that's really special. And I want to thank McNary High School, Eric Jesperson, and Mrs. Taveras, and your mom, for hosting that community showcase. I don't know if anybody else attended that, but that was very nice, watching the technical, everything from mechanics to video production. I actually watched them edit the video Hall of Fame video that we saw. And that was a very good community thing, and hopefully the next one will have more of us there. It was really good. And last but not least, you know, every once in a while there's a great story. We had Oregon has 24, I think it's 22 or 24 McDonald's All-American basketball players. And these young ladies, 4 of them are from Keizer. And the great story about them is they all started together in 5th grade. And I want to shout out to Ron Hittner for doing such a great job coaching these young ladies since they were in 5th grade. And now Brittany Hittner, his daughter, Anna Coronado, Trinity Phillips, and Abigail Holly are all McDonald's All-American players, and they all started together in 5th grade, and some of them are at Blanchette now, but Mrs. Holly's at McNary. But it's a great story. I kind of just watch them in the background. There's nothing like that, and Ron Hittner did an incredible job. It's a great feeling when you see young kids go up and then really achieve and blossom. So shout out to those folks, and we didn't forget about you guys, so thank you very much.
Thank you. We always have time for good news. All right. Let's go to other business then. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to bring for your consideration a matter that Nate's going to talk to you about regarding authorization to apply for state transportation program funds for the design of McNary Estates Drive, River Road, Manzanita intersection. It's one of those issues that literally missed all of the timing to get into the packet, and yet the timing is critical enough that we can't wait until the next council meeting. So if the council wishes to take this up, you'll have to suspend the rules to do so.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll start off with the report, and then we will entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
There we go. Mr. Brown.
Well, kind of what Chris said. So basically, the Salem-Keizer area, the Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study, or lovingly called SCATS, is in the selection process for projects to include in the future STIP, which is the State Transportation Improvement Program. So the Salem-Keizer, the SCATS is our local MPO, which is the federally designated, that's the Metropolitan Planning Organization of federal funds for our area. Basically, we would like to request the inclusion of construction design for the project that is located, that is in our transportation. All of these acronyms are just enough to make you crazy, but so it's in our local transportation system plan. Anyway, it is a project that is going to be, the construction design alone is going to be a little over $1 million, $1.8 million. This is going to be major enough that we really need outside funds. It's going to be a major accomplishment for the city, but without this kind of additional assistance, it would be pushed out several years in the future. As you know, that area up around that intersection, again, this is the Manzanita, McNary Estates Drive, and River Road intersection. It needs to be reconstructed because the spacing on those intersections is not sufficient to allow effective operation of those intersections. So it's been in our transportation system plan for a decade now, and it is time to us to pay attention to that. So basically, we are asking for the council to authorize our request for those funds. And in order to do that, you would need to suspend the rules tonight because it is not on the published agenda, and then vote on the resolution which is attached to your report.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on Nate's presentation? Council President Freeman, would you put a motion on the table to suspend the rules?
I move that the Keizer City Council suspend the rules to take up this issue.
Second. Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council suspend the rules to take up this issue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Council President Freeman.
I move that Keizer City Council approve Resolution R 2019 authorizing the Community Development Director to apply for state transportation program funding for design of McNary Estates Drive, River Road, and Manzanita Street intersection realignment from Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2019 authorizing the Community Development Director to apply for state transportation program funding for design of McNary Estates Drive, River Road, Manzanita Street intersection realignment from Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study. Any discussion? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know this is out of the main River Road corridor that we're talking about in terms of the revitalization and so forth, but is there any danger of duplicating our efforts there, or I guess fixing that and then having to refix it again after we revitalize it?
Sure, that's a great question. So our efforts, our efforts in the revitalization project include the project that is identified in our transportation system plan. So there is no danger of duplicating it because basically that plan lays out what the future of that area is going to be transportation system wise. So this in effect would be implementing part of that revitalization plan.
All right, good question. Councilor Herrera?
If I'm mistaken, and Bill probably knows this, didn't we do something with that configuration many years ago? Or that was at the dead end there, wasn't it? Or,
Excuse me, we realigned, well, Manzanita was connected over to River Road years ago. Trail Avenue was cul-de-sac. It used to
Trail
cross
Avenue.
River Road. And then after that, we realigned Wheatland and River Road. But the McNary Estates Manzanita intersection has not been changed
okay.
Since Manzanita first was put through to River Road.
And the follow-up question, is that going to take any, let's see, for lack of a better word, anything with the water lines? Because I know they're kind of awkward there. I've located many of them there.
Remains to be seen on the water lines. There's no water line on the Manzanita piece between River Road and Trail, so that shouldn't be a problem. Some of that's going to be dependent on development north of the new realigned Trail Avenue
Right.
to McNary Estates. But it shouldn't affect anything that's existing much at all.
So those projects that were done previous, basically they were patches until the
Yeah,
permanent
that's
fix
kinda right.
could be implemented.
That's why when Councilor Reed asked that, it popped in my head there. Thank you very much for that.
Good questions. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Anything further?
And then moving on, Tracy?
I do have. On behalf of the community center staff, I'd like to extend my apologies to all the volunteers who were here on Saturday and had to deal with the parking lot conflict, confusion. It won't happen again. So.
Thank you. Tim. Chief.
Yeah, I'd like to, I guess, talk to the public a little bit and perhaps the council in case y'all have heard some of this. We've received complaints over last year, not so much during the rainy season, but regarding the Carlson Skate Park. Past couple of years, we've seen a less respectful crowd over there. Not necessarily ruffians, but less respectful, not following park rules and littering and being profane. And we're a little discouraged that maybe some of the more polite crowd aren't coming and skating, and it's doubtful that parents are bringing their kids there. So I'm just telling the public that we've made a project out of that, and we want to clean the place up and invite these good folks back. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill.
Thank you, Chris. Couple things. Just want everybody to know that our contractor is going to be starting soon on River Road, replacing the ADA ramps on all the corners from Shamawa to the South City limits. That means those ramps and the sidewalks will be somewhat inaccessible at times. I don't have a solid schedule from them yet, but I would expect they'll start work before the council meets again, so I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. The other thing is really good news. The new bathrooms at Keizer Rapids Park will be open for business tomorrow.
Bravo.
So if you need to use the restroom, anytime between now and, say, Wednesday, head on down. So,
That's it.
Nate.
It was mentioned by Councilor Reed, but just to remind everybody that our third Citizens Advisory Committee for the Buildable Lands Housing Needs Analysis project is meeting next Monday. So the project is moving along, and there are recommendations that are being formulated. So we are making progress.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Written communication, I have one letter from Garton, the recycling coordinator. And we are, dear friends of Garton, we are thankful to have had the opportunity to assist you with your 2018 recycling efforts. People with disabilities have work, and our environment is healthier because of your recycling. Through recycling and other sustainable businesses, Garton provides jobs for more than 500 people with developmental disabilities and long-term mental illness in the Willamette Valley. In addition to these jobs, other industries that rely on recycled materials are able to expand in our area. Your recycling efforts are great for our entire regional economy. Your actions also help our environment. Recycling reduces air pollution, water pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and the demand for energy, all while trimming the need for new supplies of natural resources across the globe. Every pound of solid waste that you recycle with Garton Services creates a better quality of life for everyone. Our records show that during 2018, the city of Keizer recycled 2,915 pounds of confidential shred with Garton. According to conversion factors provided by Marion County Environmental Services and other sources, your efforts alone translate into these tangible impacts. You saved the equivalent of 25 trees, which would have otherwise been harvested for paper pulp. You reduced greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to removing one car from the road for a year. You reduce water consumption equivalent to the water that would be used to take 364 personal baths. That fifth day, you're out of luck. Or that 365th day. You saved energy equivalent to 196 gallons of gasoline, and you eliminated the cost of hauling 6 cubic yards of waste to the landfill or a waste energy facility. We know that Garton could not process such quantities of recycled materials, fundamentally benefiting everyone in the community, without loyal customers like you. Thank you for doing business with us. So this is to you, City Manager, and thanks to our staff for a conscientious job with securing documents through shredding and doing it in an environmentally responsible way. Thank you. Agenda input. April 1st, we will meet at 7 p.m. in regular session. April 8th at 5:45, we will have a work session, and that is on active shooter training. On April 15th at 7 p.m., we will meet in regular session, and then again, May 6th, 7 p.m., regular session. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Do I dare? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've just heard, I've I'm pretty sure that Counselor Reed knows where Elvis went when he left the building.
And to solve that mystery, make sure you come see the show. All right. Thank you very much. It is, before we go anywhere else, 8:30, and we are adjourned.